Hello, this is a video on how to play the card game Conquian. Now, Conquian is a very old card game. It's thought to be the origin of many of the other card games. It's sort of been an ancestor to all of the other rummy games, and it is a two-player game. And it's actually very, very simple. And so we'll get into how to play. But before we start, first, you'll just need to realize that you will need a 40 card deck. And so that is the aces up to the sevens, and then the jacks to the kings. And so this is just a regular deck. A 40 card deck is a 52 card deck with the eights and nines removed in every suit. And so each player is dealt 10 cards, one card at a time. So if you look here, right, each player is dealt 10 cards 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then right here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There are some other variations of Conquian. However, this is the most common one, and so it's the one I'll be talking about. And so note that cards are ranked from highest to lowest in the following manner. The kings are the highest, then the queens, the jacks, then the sevens, the sixes, the fives, the fours, the threes, the twos, the ones. And so, I mean the aces, sorry. And so it's just simply from ace to king. Ace being the lowest, king being the highest. But since we have removed the sevens and we have removed the eights and the nines. Those are just not part of the ranking or part of the game. But other than that, the card ranks are normal, like they normally would be. And so the objective of the game is to meld 11 cards into sets or sequences. A set is 3 or 4 cards with the same rank. A sequence is 3 or more cards in order with the same suit. And note that since there are no 8 and 9, um, as well as tens, right? Sorry, I forgot to mention that the tens are also removed. And so since there's no 8, 9, or 10, note that 7 and a sequence is three or more cards in order with the same suit. And so a 7 and a jack would be in sequence because there is no 8, 9, or 10. And so the 7 and the jack are theoretically in order. Technically, since we have removed the other cards, there's no other card in between the 7 and the jack. Therefore, the 7 and the jack are in sequence. And the ace is always, once again, the lowest. And so the non-dealer goes first by drawing the top card of the remaining deck. And so the top card of the remaining deck is laid right here. And so what you can do is you can do one of two things. You can draw a card, and a drawn card can only be kept if it can be used to form a meld. A meld is a set or a sequence. And so once again, a set is 3 cards of the same rank. This would be like a ace, ace, and if this was an ace, hypothetically, ace, ace, ace. A sequence would be 3 or more cards in order in the same suit. And so a sequence would be a jack, a queen, and a king. Let's say these were all in the same suit. Let's say these were all diamonds, right? But the queen isn't. We could go jack, queen, jack of diamonds, queen of diamonds, king of diamonds. That's a sequence. That would be a proper meld. Or we could go an ace, an ace, an ace. And if we had another ace, we could also add that. And that would be a set, which would also be a meld. And so that defines what a meld is. A drawn card from this deck can be kept if it's used in a meld, or you can draw the discard. And so you can draw the top card on the draw pile, and if you can use it in a meld, you can keep it. If not, you have to put it in the discard pile. Or if you can make a meld with the top card in the discard pile, you can also draw the top card in the discard pile. In this case, drawing the Queen of Clovers wouldn't actually give me a meld, and so I can't draw the top card in the discard pile. So we're going to draw we're going to have to discard this, and we'll draw the top card of the regular deck, right? And in this case, would the queen help us make a meld? Queen of Hearts? No, she wouldn't. And so we just draw the top card of the regular deck. And so that was the queen was the top card of the discard there. And so this was then the top card of the regular deck. And now we're going to see, can we use it to make a meld? No, we have to discard it. And so he drew the top card of the discard. And so now we're given two choices. We can either draw the top card of the discard or the top card. So the top card of the discard here, sorry, or the top card of the draw deck. Once again, we can only use the top card of the discard if we can use it to make a meld. In this case, there is no meld that we could use it for. And so there's no point of really taking it. Because yeah, a 3 of diamonds wouldn't help us here. And so we're going to take the top card of the draw pile. We cannot make, we can actually make a meld with it. And so what we're going to do is we're going to keep it and make a meld with it. And so notice what just happened there, right? Once again, the top card of the draw pile or the top card of the discard pile. So you take the top card of the draw pile. If you can use it to make a meld, you get to keep it. If you can't, you discard it. You take the top card of the discard pile if you can use it to make a meld. And that's basically Conquian. It's quite an easy game, guys. It's very, very easy. But other than that, you're still forced to discard a card every time you make a meld. And so now let's look at this. There's a Jack of Hearts. We can't do much about that. And so now you are probably wondering what happens. And so what I didn't highlight was that notice how we made a meld here. Now your turn ends when you discard a card. And so if you draw the top card from the deck and you can't use it to make a meld, it's simple. You discard it, right? And so that usually ends your turn. But if you make a meld, you have not actually discarded any card yet. And so if you make a meld, you must manually then choose a different card from your hand and discard it to end your turn. And so that's basically it. You draw cards from the draw pile or the discard pile to make melds. You must end your turn by discarding a card, which means that after you meld something, you must manually discard a different card from your hand. Also note that if you draw a card you cannot use to meld, you must discard it, and likewise you can only draw the card from the discard pile if you can use it to make a meld. And so that's like literally how simple this game is. And so how do you win? The first player to meld 11 cards wins the game. And so note that we have melded 3 cards here, right? 1, 2, 3. And so the first player to meld 11 cards would win the game. In the odd event that the draw deck here runs out before any player was able to meld 11 cards, the game ends in a tie. But that's it. That's how to play Conquian. It's quite simple, and I hope you learned a simple but important card game.